Welcome everyone to what is technically the 20th episode of Nerdosophical. The 19th episode is lost forever in the messed up confines of my hard drive, never to be recovered.
It's another galaxy.
Yes, it could be.
Far away.
So we are going to re-record our impressions of The Force Awakens. I am Methuselah.
I'm Casey.
I'm the Ginger. I'm Braden.
And that's it for us tonight.
Welcome to the new year, by the way.
Yes, first cast of the new year.
Gosh, it's a new year.
It's pretty crazy.
Well,
first time to record this year.
Well, I think we should probably start off by saying that The Force Awakens is officially the most successful movie ever in North America. So that's pretty, that's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Just past
crazy.
Avatar.
Yeah, and it's also become the most successful movie in the UK, beating out the last James Bond.
Not too bad.
So
We all knew it would, though. I mean,
breaking records everywhere.
I had no doubt it would pass Avatar. I'm still amazed how Avatar did that well.
Yeah, it did it over a lot longer period of time, though.
Yeah.
It took it 34 weeks in theaters to make less than what The Force Awakens has already made.
Which was 20 days, wasn't it? It took 20 days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does that mean Force Awakens is like number one globally?
not globally yet.
I think it's still behind Titanic.
Yeah, it's still,
Globally.
but it doesn't open in China till tomorrow.
Seriously? It still hasn't opened in China?
No, not till tomorrow. So that will likely give it a boost in sales because they've been marketing quite a lot over there
Oh, yeah.
in Asia. So
So they have a pretty big presence.
so we'll see what changes in the next couple weeks. Broken 32 box office records already, and it just continues to make the top money at the box office.
Do they take
each and
in-
every week?
Do they take into account, or will they, the Blu-ray, DVD sales, all that, as when it comes to, or is it just
I think
strictly
that's-
box office?
Yeah, I think that's a separate revenue stream.
Because think about all the people, because I know I don't buy a lot of movies, but that's one like I want to get. Like
Yeah.
have my own like
Oh yes.
deluxe edition.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it last week.
I believe that.
After seeing it 6 times, was it?
7.
You've seen it 7?
Yes.
I've still only seen it twice.
I thought you'd only seen it twice as much as I have, but now it's more than that.
Yeah. Seen it many times. Going again on Monday.
For an 80?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, then again, you did see Phantom Menace 18 times.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's-
Are you trying to beat that?
No, this time I'm actually paying for my viewing, so
It's always different when you pay, right?
yes, it's much different when you have to pay. I'll probably stay at under 10.
But if someone invites you for a 9th or 10th time, you're not
Then-
going to object.
No, I'll keep it at around 10.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times. It's gotten better each time I've seen it.
There's a lot to dive in with it.
There's a
So,
lot to process too.
Yes.
I think the first time you go, you're just so blown away by everything that's going on that not everything
catch
gets
much.
absorbed, and you're just like, oh, the nostalgia, and oh, the new stuff, and oh, this is amazing. I just got an oh face all over the place.
I think, yeah, the first time I watched it with you guys, it was, all I could think about was Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, instead of like, okay, what's like kind of going on here? Like, I don't know, I wasn't paying so much attention to the plot and all that. I mean, I was, but not, just kind of enjoying it at face value more.
Yes. Exactly.
It was definitely the second time when I was able to process what was going on.
Yeah, me too.
I was able to go, oh, so this could possibly change everything.
Yes.
So where do we want to start? 'Cause look at storylines.
That's a good question. Yeah, we just
I think the biggest thing
go.
The absolute biggest thing from The Force Awakens is who is Rey.
That's
One of the two
probably-
biggest. Yeah, the other one is who is Snoke. I think those are the two big ones. Yeah, Rey. She was
fantastic. I loved her cast. She was a great actress. I think she filled the role very well.
Yeah.
It was kind of like what they did with the originals. Cast a bunch of, well, apart from Harrison Ford, he was somewhat well known, wasn't he? Or no, this was before Indiana Jones.
He'd been in like one movie. He was in George Lucas's earlier film, American Graffiti.
Yeah.
He had a pretty minor role in that.
So relatively unknown. I mean, you have, what's his name? John Boyega, Daisy Ridley.
They were
Not a lot
both
of people know about
pretty
them.
unknown.
Yeah.
He'd been in one like indie film that kind of had a good amount of attention, Attack the Block.
That was
But
a weird movie.
that's about all
With
that,
John Boyega.
that's
Yeah.
about all that anyone knew him from, if they knew him at all.
He was pretty hardcore in that movie, but that movie was weird.
I loved it, but yes.
I want to watch it now just to see.
Oh, it's good.
Aliens
He plays
attack.
You've seen it?
It's hilarious.
It's
he plays like the leader of a black gang in England.
Really?
And they get attacked by these blacker than black.
Like alien gorilla type
gorilla
mashups.
Really?
But
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Oh, it's not bad. It's just weird beyond all imagination.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would dispute that.
Yeah. I think personally my two favorite characters, and it's kind of changed a little bit since I saw it the third time. I really love General Hux, and then I love Poe Dameron. I think those two, and I loved the movie they were in together. It came out earlier last year, Ex Machina. I thought they were really good in that, but those are two characters that, in spite of their limited screen time, I thought really did well. I thought were perfectly cast.
So, who is Rey?
There are a couple of theories on that one.
Some crazier than others.
Yeah, not as crazy as some of the ones for
Snoke.
Yeah, those are definitely way more out there.
Which we will not discuss the Snoke as Boba Fett one because
No,
it's not
because
even
that's
worth
stupid.
it. It's not even worth
There
talking
is
about.
no precedent at all for that theory. It's just dumb.
Super dumb.
But do we all agree that we think Rey, based on the final scene when she hands Luke his lightsaber, do we think that she is his daughter?
That's the camp I'm planting my flag in. At least for now.
That's where I'm planting my flag too. And if it's not in that camp, it's in the she's a Jedi youngling survivor.
Yeah.
But those camps have got to be right next to
Yeah.
each other.
So you know those circles you draw in like school that have like they intersect?
Venn
Yeah,
diagrams.
The Venn diagrams, yes. So mine's like where the two intersect with she's Luke's daughter, but just based on some of the hints that were given that she's also related to Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think that she's also Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter.
The only reason why I don't subscribe to that theory is because it would cause them to have to create some crazy like back genealogy that they'd have no time to go into,
That's
explaining how Obi-Wan met this person and like married this person or hooked up with this person.
But it could
It's all
just be
kind
like
of
a
backstory
vision.
they can't give.
They could do another vision, you know, where.
But it wouldn't give enough information to make it relevant.
So
I
why?
would like it to be.
So
but
why is
it just
Obi-Wan's
doesn't.
voice? Why do you hear him saying, "Rey, these are your first steps in her vision in the Force Awakens"? Why? What's the
I
significance?
don't necessarily think that it would be like a vision of the past where like, oh, Rey, you're taking your first steps as a little girl and this is a memory of me as a father saying that to my daughter.
So do you think
But
it's
maybe
foreshadowing to the next film? Where it's
Foreshadowing
like
to the next film.
these are
Maybe
your
he
first
was
steps as a Jedi?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
she could be hearing from the Force ghost of Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
who I'm sure that Luke still counsels with, assuming that he can still see the Force ghost after the last movie and whatnot, and so I think they'll have a more active role.
Yeah, I mean, and Yoda is also speaking in the vision.
Yeah.
He's not related to her in any way.
Yoda's her second uncle.
That would be quite a.
Granddaughter, you are.
Can't subscribe to that theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
So Obi-Wan hooked up with Yoda's daughter.
Oh God, who's
Hooked
what?
up
600
with
years
that
old?
lady.
Yeah, no.
That is a weird looking child.
But you end up with Rey.
Hey, she turned out pretty good for being
Science does not work. Genetics
Gremlin
don't
here.
work.
This is closer to Gremlin.
Like, maybe if Ray came out looking like Schmeagol, I'd believe that.
So, speaking of Force Ghosts, Anakin was supposed to be a Force Ghost. That was
Yeah.
I've seen it. I don't even know the validity of it. I've seen it among
Yeah.
several different sites.
I don't know if it seems fairly accurate that he was at least cast for the movie at one point. Whether
Yeah.
or not he filmed anything is more up in the air as far as I can tell.
I don't know if they'd ever.
There's also room that it'll be coming in episode 8 instead of 7.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So it could be something they did film and just decided to cut it and stick it in the next movie where it will have more validity.
What
They
kind
had
of-
so much to do in this
Do
movie
they have
already.
any kind of confirmation from like Hayden Christensen that he was on set or anything like that?
I don't know if
I don't
he's discussed
people
anything.
think that he was. I don't know if they've come out and said, yes, he filmed for this movie.
But it got
Probably
cut or they
paid
said
quite a
what?
bit of money not to say anything.
Yeah,
That's my
I mean,
fault.
look how much Luke got paid for 30 seconds of film.
You gotta figure they all signed non-disclosure
Oh,
agreements
yeah.
and
Some
they paid
very
a lot of
lengthy-
money. Yeah,
Like, you say anything, we will own your soul type of non-disclosure.
they will.
Well, there's a difference between saying what you filmed and whether or not you were at Disney Studios filming.
Yes, this is true. That's what I'm saying.
But they don't
There
want
was-
anything. Like you saw how tight-lipped it was. It was. They didn't want
Yeah,
a
this is
single. Like
this is Disney.
I mean, they do pretty
Their
much the same
contract.
thing with their Marvel movies.
yeah,
Not much from those leaks ever either.
yeah.
Your contract for Disney is probably like 4 inches worth of paperwork. Just in depth. Like you have to sign away everything in your life just to be in the movie.
Just to be
And if they
quiet.
cut you, you don't get to say anything about you ever being in the movie, period.
Yeah.
Or they will own you.
They'll own you, your children, and your grandchildren. You will work on the underbelly of Disney.
So Rey obviously is a very popular character. I think she's skyrocketing to popular or to fame.
Yeah, Hasbro got in trouble because they didn't make a Rey toy, but they had every other character.
Oh, I saw that for the
In the Monopoly game.
Monopoly.
Yep.
Yep.
Really?
They
Yeah,
came out
a
and
lot of
said,
people were
she's
outraged.
coming.
Oh,
Which is code for, oh crap, we messed up. Start making it fast.
we didn't realize she was the main character.
You know what? You know what I think though. What if you had one of those ones where she wasn't a character? in it? Wouldn't it be worth something?
Oh,
now?
yours would become a collector's edition.
I'm sure they don't sell them now.
Pretty
I'm
quick.
sure they've been pulled off the shelves.
You had to be a pretty early subscriber to get one.
Because
of
those Monopoly board, I mean, those are worth a lot of money if they're.
They end up being, yeah.
Especially
Especially
that
if you
one.
had the rest of the Star Wars ones to go along with
Oh, yeah,
it.
my Star Wars
You have the
Collector's
set.
Edition one is worth $120 something.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking on
That's why I
online.
haven't ever played on it.
So, what are
Yeah,
some
I probably
other
wouldn't.
Ginger? What do you think? Let's hear about Snoke from your.
Well, I actually
What
want to
do you
still talk about Rey because there's a lot of evidence to suggest my two camps here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's, throw out our reasonings, not just say where we're aligned, because then we can have people comment and say we're all stupid or say, oh, I totally agree with you. Because,
Except for nobody comments because our listeners don't like to comment.
well, whatever. I still want to have my 2 cents.
This might be big enough to get them to comment.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with them commenting. I'd love them to. It's just, you don't do it.
You know what we need to do is say something just super controversial. Well, all the tension.
Ray chokes babies with her giant.
Like Snoke. Snoke is Jar Jar Binks.
And
Holy
a
gosh,
corpse
I
inside
hate
his
that.
ATV.
I love Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. There we go. Y'all
This
listen
is
to
the
that.
last
I
fucking.
can't even say that. It's too hard to say.
I'm
Felt
cringing.
weird.
The soulless one is cringing.
I know, it's awful.
Sorry, Tyler. What were you gonna say?
I don't even remember.
Oh, right. your camp.
There's
Your
lots.
two camps.
My two camps with Ray.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of this really comes from the scene where they're on the green planet. I don't even know what planet that is. The one with Maz.
With Maz.
Yeah.
That's crap.
I don't know either.
It's
How do
like,
we forget these
it's
things?
like
It's got like the temple looking thing,
Yeah.
the giant like stone
Yeah, it's got the statue of
pillars.
Maz out front.
Maz, yeah. And all the pod racing flags.
But that's like probably the most jam-packed full of information and hidden clues ever portion of a movie I've ever seen. Like every line of dialogue, you just have to like read over it over and over.
Takadana.
Takadana. Okay.
Yes.
I do agree with that. There's quite a bit.
And so there, inside of that moment, we hear the moment when Rey is going after Finn, and Maz turns to Han Solo, and she says, "So, who is that girl?" Okay.
Yes.
Now that gives us some kind of inclination that there's a conversation going on between Maz and Han about who she actually is, which leads us to assume then that Han knows who she is.
And why would Han offer her a job so willingly when he
just
met her?
Absolutely.
Has that much faith in someone that
Yeah.
ended up with his,
He wouldn't just
brilliant.
bestow confidence in somebody that fast that he just met.
Absolutely not. Even though she demonstrated that she was a great pilot and someone who could take over the Millennium Falcon, he's not going to give his baby away to a complete stranger. Even
He was
if that
hesitant to give
stranger.
it to Lando
Oh,
during
absolutely.
the last.
He was hesitant to do that.
He's like, not a
Lando
scratch.
owned it before.
Yeah.
He still didn't want to give it back to him.
Yeah.
And so there's some kind of a connection, and Harrison Ford knew the connection.
Yes, because it's explained to Leia once again off screen. Because once Finn and Poe come up to her after she's captured, it's like, Han told me all about the girl. Another
Oh,
time
yeah.
she was described, but we never get to hear anything.
Yeah, Han Solo. Oh yeah, because she doesn't meet Leia because she's abducted. That's right.
So they don't see each other till after the aftermath of everything.
Well, and then it's hard to, discredit the fact that when Leia and Rey look at each other, the next to last scene in the movie,
Yeah, there's
the
something
music
there.
plays. They're just looking at each other. They hug each other, and
It
then
look like how you hug a stranger.
It doesn't look-
It's a
yeah.
long embrace.
and then Leia's like, "May the Force be with you." Like it just seems to me like there's a connection.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the next part of that is that she goes downstairs into the one place, and then she touches Luke's lightsaber, and she has the vision. Now, the vision is probably like the most hinting and foreshadowing and revealing to her.
There's a
entire
lot
backstory.
in that minute.
And there is a lot of stuff that happens. And the
Yeah.
first time I saw the movie, I did not even hear like the Force ghosts talking during the vision. I was just
I heard
like,
Yoda.
oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So the second time I finally heard, I think Obi-Wan saying, "These are your first steps," but I still haven't.
It's
heard
really
it.
hard to hear that. It took my third time to hear it.
Yoda's in there, and you can also hear an evil laugh that sounds like Palpatine.
Really?
From what I could gather, there's definitely an evil laugh in there, and I'm pretty sure it's Palpatine.
Oh, that'd be
Huh.
wonderful.
Which how would that work? Palpatine.
Okay, now
Huh.
with this vision, we can either assume that this is totally disconnected from her, or we can assume that it has something to do specifically with her.
Which
There is
represents
the
the
fact,
two camps.
which represents the two camps. Now, if I'm personally in the camp that this has stuff to do specifically with her, she touched Luke's lightsaber, and it granted her this vision of what was going on, and it kind of showed in that vision that portion of the Jedi Order that Luke had started to build up, those younglings, were all killed off by Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
we also know nothing about.
which we also know absolutely
That's the
nothing
only time
about.
you see. Yeah.
And then after that, you then see her get left on Jakku, and she's watching a spaceship taking off, and I don't remember what word she's using.
No, come back.
Come back, come
Yeah,
back,
she's
come back.
crying for them.
And she's crying for them to come back. And so, with
Try to
that in
figure out
mind, I'm
that.
like, okay, well, that either makes her a Jedi youngling who survived this attack, and then they dropped her off there for security, or she was Luke's daughter who survived that, and then she was left on Jakku while he tried to go sort out the whole thing with Kylo Ren.
Can I comment on the whole theory of the ship blasting off and her saying come back? No. It was either you, Brock, or my brother that said there's a theory like that Kylo Ren was ordered to kill her.
Yeah.
And that's why he's freaking out when, there's like, the droid stole a ship and got away. He's like, the droid
Piloted a
piloted
brilliant freighter.
and stolen, no, there was also a girl, and then he just grabs him and what's a girl?
Yeah, he had a very emotional reaction.
He obviously,
to those words.
why would he react so strongly?
Unless you felt the Force say when that girl is like, oh my gosh, that's the girl who I've been looking for, whatever. Now we can also go into why that specific girl. Does it have to be the fact that she's related to Luke, the leader of the Jedi Order, or does it have to be some random Jedi youngling that has all of a sudden this notoriety that he was supposed to kill? And if she was just some random youngling, why?
Yeah. Well, you see that. Well, obviously, Kylo Ren is very conflicted. He says as much in the film, but you could see maybe he was ordered to kill her to Snoke,
Yeah.
and maybe for whatever reason he couldn't. And I think that's I don't know. Was it you that suggested that?
Yeah.
Isla?
After I'd seen it a couple times as I was watching the vision, I think that it's taking place from her perspective, but it's just her grown up. But I think it's the same thing she went through when she was young. You're seeing what she saw when it actually happened.
Yeah.
So it was just her standing there, the only one alive, with all the Knights of Ren there. They could have taken her out. Someone had to actively stop them from doing it.
So the only two choices there are Luke stopped them from doing it and then took her to Jakku, or Kylo Ren stopped everyone and took her to Jakku to pretend that he had killed her. And so
It's
that
hard
would
to
be
tell.
your two reasonings for why he would be so concerned about a girl leaving Jakku. But then as soon as the vision is over, she kind of freaks out, runs back into the hallway, and we meet Maz again. And Maz kind of gets into a conversation with her about what she was expecting on Jakku, and how that she kept expecting for her family to come back and find her. And that's why she had never left Jakku, and then why she had stayed there for so long, because she was always hoping every single day that her family would come back. And Maz says very blatantly that there's only one person who could come back, but your reunion with them is not in the past but in the future.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, oh, well, if there's only one person left in her family, the only person that we think might be in her family right now is Luke. And if he's not coming back for her, she has to meet in the future. And who does she meet at the end of the movie but Luke Skywalker? And so that could be the reunion that Maz was talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole when Kylo is looking into her mind, he sees the same planet Luke's sitting on.
Yeah, that's what it seems like he's describing.
The ocean,
the
island.
island.
And that's also where we hear that she was so alone that she was always waiting for people to come back for her as well.
And we see all her tick marks inside the AT-AT that she lives in. She's been checking off every single day, just yearning for that person to come back. She's got all the Republic mementos that she keeps around, the
doll,
X-Wing helmet, the doll that appears to be
the X-Wing
handmade.
helmet. Well, that was confirms that it wasn't Luke's, right?
Yeah, I thought that initially, but then once I got the Star Wars Visual Dictionary, it tells you that it's just the helmet of some leader of a gold squadron that I'm guessing fought in the Battle of Jakku, which is how she got a hold of it, because it was probably in some X-Wing that had crash landed.
You know there's been some big battles based on the wreckage you see.
Yeah, well, the book Lost Stars talks about that battle specifically, and how both of the Star Destroyers ended up crashing on that planet. You get the whole story of the Battle of Jakku in that book. So yeah, it was definitely an intense battle that happened there. But also another thing that some people are thinking is that Maz's cantina is inside what used to be at least part of a Jedi temple.
It looks like it from the outside. That's what I first thought when I saw it in the trailers and TV spots. It's like, oh, that looks like a Jedi temple.
It's like seems to be some sort of hub for the Force, and she'd be attracted to that stuff as she seems to be pretty Force sensitive.
She does seem to be pretty Force sensitive, and no one really knows anything about her either, other than she's been ruling that place for the last 1,000 years, so she's the female Yoda.
Basically.
I think is fantastic.
I thought she was awesome.
She was really good.
Yeah.
But going back to Rey and the whole Obi-Wan thing, I just want to I think Brock brought up a good point a week or two ago, how her fight style is very similar to that of Obi-Wan's. And that, you know more of the specific fight styles and the details better than I do. I can't let that go, I guess. I'm just like...
Luke used the same fight style as well.
Yeah.
But it could just also be something that was coming from the lightsaber, because it seems in this new Disney canon they're doing something different with lightsabers than we've seen, where they have like some sort of not a soul, but there's something inside them, like their crystal is almost some sort of living entity that can not necessarily make choices, but it has some sort of effect on things that happen to it. Because you could see
wand chooses lizard hair name.
Kylo, he was going for the lightsaber, and it was coming to him, and then
that's kind of what I thought too. It's like a wand.
Goes to Rey. How could she outpower him in the Force
when we see how powerful he was?
Well,
there had to be something else acting at that moment.
And you have to figure that lightsaber though is probably so. I mean, think about who's used it: Anakin, Luke. Like they're
possibly Obi-Wan.
That's two really big, characters that were strong with the Force that wielded that.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, and going back to the old canon, even then, to make the lightsaber, the Jedi had to meditate on the crystal, so it gave it a bit of their own personality.
Yeah.
So I think Disney's just expanding on that, and instead of just giving it their own personality, it's giving it a bit of themselves, so that it makes the lightsaber an even more personal weapon.
So they did the same thing in the Clone Wars cartoon when they show the Padawans making their lightsabers. It's almost like a process of the crystal choosing the specific Padawan. Like they go on that whole journey, and there's certain things they have to do before the crystal.
So it's a pretty intensive process.
And so I think they are just expanding on what was already there.
Yeah, like Mace Windu, he made like 5 lightsabers or something like that before he made his original purple one, and all the other ones failed because it just wasn't him. So
the Kyber crystals are specific.
Yeah, I think Disney's just taking it and making it a step further, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it adds a whole new.
Plus, they sound a little different.
Depth.
Sounds.
Yeah, well, the whole sound design is so drastically improved.
It's much
Everything
better.
has such a presence. When the Force is used, you feel it as it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
It's
Especially in the
amazing.
IMAX, you're just like,
Yeah,
surrounds you.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah, there was another thing too. I got just recently. I finished reading the novelization of the film, which didn't offer too many additional insights, but I think the most important thing that was in there happens at the very end when Kylo and Rey are fighting. There was a line he has in there that wasn't in the film. After she strikes him down and cuts his face, he looks up at her and he's like studying intently, and then he's like, "It is you." Like he knows finally who she is. It doesn't confirm, any theories about who she is, but it does show that he definitely knows who she is. She's not just some random girl he's looking for. I think he had to have known her in the past in some capacity.
And he does say, like, you need a teacher, or like something. What was the line?
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, you need a teacher. I can show you
the ways of the Force.
So you got to assume that he took the plunge to just go on full evil once Finn was struck down. I'm trying to think. Sorry, my brain's like.
He went full evil the moment he put the sword through.
When he committed patricide and killed his father.
Yeah, I guess that's the turning point. That's where he just decided. So
it's just amazing. I loved it so much.
He might have
I cried.
Saved her.
I didn't. Terrible person.
If he had saved her before when it came with him and the Knights of Ren, if he had, purposely tried to protect her, I don't think now.
Yeah, now he's over that. But at that point, he wouldn't have been.
He obviously wants her to
committed.
Join him, and
So I mean, that's still he probably still doesn't want to kill her.
No,
he wants her to join with him, because then he's probably thinking, together they can easily take down, whatever Jedis there are left to oppose them.
Either that or Snoke, because
that's the history of the Sith.
That's what happens with the Sith. You always have, as soon as you get a little bit of power, you find an apprentice and you prepare yourself to kill the master.
Yeah.
It's a continuous cycle.
Yeah.
Either way, he knows her from somewhere.
Yeah. Well, the Rule 2 was kind of killed off by Palpatine. So
you have to figure a lot of things. We're probably the whole Jedi Order we I think discussed in one of our chats. The whole Jedi Order now is completely, Jedi's not supposed to fall in love. Like all that is probably, which is why I still subscribe to Obi-Wan's theory, because now it's just. But anyways.
Yeah.
But I guess I just want it to happen.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will, but it would be interesting.
Alec Guinness, he passed away, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah. They used to make his voice. They used some Ewan McGregor lines and some old sound bites from the original trilogy compiled together.
It sounded good
to make what he says.
Now on to the theory of Snoke,
which I'm most conflicted about.
Well, I don't have a solid answer for who Snoke is. There's just so many ways they could go with
I have who I want it to be.
I really like, and Alex, my brother, brought up a really good point from the dialogue. And I think, I sent you guys this last night, how, in episode 3, when Palpatine's speaking to Anakin about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Okay, that's his title he uses for Darth Plagueis. And I thought it was really interesting how, I think it was when, right before, Han's trying to convince them, come back home with us. Snoke's just going to use you and he's just going to, kill you.
Once he's done,
he's just going to throw you away. And there's like a little pause and, Ben says, the Supreme Leader is wise. And like for me, that I didn't really think about it until, after Alex had said that what if that's not, why would he use that of all adjectives to describe him? You could have said the Supreme Leader is all powerful and like he's you don't know what you're talking about, but he's like, the Supreme Leader is wise. So I think
Could be a subtle hint.
could be a
Could
hint.
be nothing.
I think a lot of people. I didn't even.
It's something a lot of
Catch
people
up
would
with that.
miss. So I mean, it's one of those things. Anytime you're delving this deep, a lot of the stuff you pick up on is gonna be stuff you're just reading way too far into, or it has the chance of being a subtle hint they put in for the few people that would catch it.
So I think
Either
it's.
way.
I think it could be a title. It could be a reference to the title. Darth Plagueis the Wise.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was
See, the other
some
thing that's
connection to Plagueis.
supporting that Plagueis thing is the musical score that's being played when
It's very, very
Palpatine
similar.
is talking about Plagueis,
At the
and then
opera,
as well
yeah.
as when Hux and Kylo are both talking to
Just-
Snoke. Their themes are very, very similar to each other, and it is very suggestive of the fact that it could be Plagueis. Now, that being said, I'm a very big fan of Plagueis the way he was before Disney threw out the canon.
Now Darth Plagueis is no longer.
Now Darth Plagueis
There's nothing
is
we really know about him at this
gone.
point.
We don't know anything for certain about him anymore. He is just
Only
a
what was said in
legend.
episode 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say episode
Which-
3 they'd have to.
That's
That-
all that's canon.
Yeah.
Then me,
So it's
if we
pieces.
read into exactly
Yeah,
what it
basically,
said in episode 3, that Darth Plagueis was actually killed by his apprentice. Now, because the Darth Plagueis book doesn't count anymore, we can't say for certain that Sidious is the apprentice of Plagueis. We can't even say that
Yeah, I guess we can.
Plagueis is immune. We can't say anything about Plagueis.
Yeah.
So this could either be Plagueis as some other species of whatever, and he actually survived his death or whatever, or this is the apprentice to Plagueis, who might not be Sidious anymore, was telling the story to Sidious, and Sidious recounted that story to Anakin.
Yes. Or just someone who, in a similar vein to Kylo, is just like a admirer of Plagueis.
So I think we
Someone who
can-
learned of his teachings and is modeling their life after his, like Kylo's.
So
doing
He could
Vader.
totally be a rando out of nowhere too.
Well, I was gonna say I don't see it being an original character. I don't see him being an original character.
Well, that's when you get into the fact that there have always been more than one dynasty of evil. Okay?
Yeah.
You have the rule of two through the Bane line,
Yeah.
but then you also have other practitioners of the dark side, like the Night Sisters,
Yeah.
and there's other people out there who raise themselves up with the dark side.
But this was born. This whole First Order is born from the ashes of the Empire. So you have to.
So
this still is
it would make
First Order
sense
troopers. Yeah.
that they kind of follow in with Palpatine and how he was running things. Maybe he was an Inquisitor. Maybe he was actually training Supreme Leader Snoke to replace Vader.
Yeah.
We don't know anything.
See, we all know who it really is. It's Jar Jar Binks with a lot of facial reconstruction for his own protection.
But
Let's hope not.
the only difference there is in the two songs is in the episode 3 one, all we're hearing is just Gregorian style chanting. There's no actual lyrics, whereas in the new one, there is a Sanskrit version of a poem that's being said, so there's actual known lyrics this time around. And there's still no confirmation on this, but from what I discovered, the lines that appear to be in the song that are being chanted are "Tears are for the craven, prayers are for the clown, halters for the silly neck that cannot keep a crown. As my loss is grievous, so my hope is small. For iron, cold iron, must be master of men all."
Jar Jar Binks.
It's a very It's very dark, to say the
Cloud of
least.
Kings.
And
Very dark.
That is amazing. I love that.
it's
So, are
doesn't
we even
really
leaving the
confirm
door open
anything,
for
but
Sidious, for him being Sidious? Is there any possibility that...
I don't think they would go
bringing
there.
back Sidious.
I think it's either some rando or it's Plagueis.
You think people would get kind of like, oh, really, we're bringing him back, like for the...
It's
Well,
just,
I mean,
it's
if
too
they're
much.
I liked that
bringing
theory at
back,
first.
and they're bringing back like Death Star planet sized or whatever.
It's just
It's
too
already
much.
getting, which I don't agree with. It's already getting criticism that the plot is unoriginal because it's like, oh,
It's
we're
the
gonna go kill the
exact
Star Killer base. You have, the same kind of exposition as A New Hope, sort
Yes.
of, kind of. But
The people who think that aren't looking very deep into the story. They're seeing what's very much on the surface.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about every Star Trek movie or show. It's the same thing.
yeah,
It's Star Trek because they trek across and visit planets. It's Star Wars because there is a battle. There is a war going on.
well, it's
You
a
know, in
space.
Star Trek, they never actually go to a star.
No.
Not
Should
one
not be
episode.
It's not Star
Never
Trek.
once do they go to a star.
So should it
Just
be
Space Trek.
Space Trek?
It's Space Trek. Because they don't go to stars.
Well, I thought I watched an interview with Lucas. It's like a 40-minute long interview that he just did with, I don't know who it
Not
was.
like the movie.
He personally thought that he wanted it to be something completely, like, he didn't want any like callbacks to the originals. He was just,
Yeah, but
he's like, but he
we know how
admitted,
his ideas have worked in the past.
well, he has good ideas. I think that, like we had said before, he just can't write dialogue, and he's just
And
should be left in charge with the hand on the,
some of his stories just boring, I think.
Yeah.
He's good at crafting the overall world, but he got too obsessed with like the minutia of space politics.
Well, that's
That was
episode
like the
one.
entire prequel trilogy was space politics.
Yeah.
I deal enough with politics in real life. I don't want to go to a movie and learn more about trade disputes.
But he
between
did say-
the Trade Federation and Naboo.
But
I
he
don't
did-
care.
So Donald Trump?
He said that Star Wars, like, it's about like family issues, which you do see that in each of the, I guess, episodes. There's some family conflict,
Yeah.
so, and it's, I guess, very relatable to
Yeah. It's just so outshined in the prequels by
It
other
is.
stuff that doesn't work.
But I
There's
thought
a
it-
good foundation there that could have been executed a lot better by somebody else.
Just about anybody else.
Except maybe Michael Bay.
Oh,
There would have been so many more space explosions.
Well, there was a Michael Bay trailer for the Star Wars Force Awakens.
Yeah.
See random explosions and
Everywhere, yeah.
the
movie
landscape
would
of
have
Jakku.
been horrible.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness he's not.
See, he could be in
built to
charge of Armageddon because it's like explosions everywhere,
And it's
it'd
just
be fine.
completely ridiculous premise, which he does well with, because all his movies have a completely ridiculous premise.
Well, I'm excited about Rain Johnson, is it? For
Yes.
today. I wish it was J.J. Abrams, seeing how well he did with this. But is
He
it
still has
possibly...
his hand in it? So.
Does he?
Yeah, well, I mean, my thoughts is that him and Lawrence Kasdan probably penned like an overall outline for the trilogy.
'Cause he's seen the
other
script.
directors will follow.
He said, I've seen the script, and now after seeing it, I regret not directing.
But they
Because...
still had their hand, I think, in crafting the story. They're like, this is where we want this trilogy to go, and now you have some leeway to take it there. But
My
it
only-
still has a guided direction of where it's going.
My only fear is that with Abrams, he's so like good at just, he's like, I don't want to go to, see a trailer that shows you 75% of the movie, and then you're not even hyped, or you're like, okay, well, do I really need to see the movie in theater now? So,
Now, I think that's probably more of a Disney thing. It's going to continue with the rest of the movie.
I just hope the marketing, the style, I hope it's all the same, because I loved how they did that with Force
I think
Awakens.
The marketing's going to be hard to reproduce since it's like a 4 or 5 years in the making for this movie.
Yeah.
The same hype won't be there, but they'll handle it the same.
But yeah, hopefully they'll handle it the same because
They're not going to reveal anything.
that's most of Disney's job, not the directors.
Like,
That
I'm
is true.
hoping they'll start taking that approach more with the Marvel movies now that they've seen how it can work, because those trailers show way too much.
Everything.
Like, I really hope we don't see too much more of Civil War in the Civil War trailers.
I've just seen the one
As of
trailer
now,
from.
you haven't really seen much. Like, it was a pretty good teaser of that movie. But if they start showing a whole lot more, you're gonna start to know lots of major plot points.
Like Batman v Superman.
awful.
Guess what? You know they
Batman
team
v
up at the
Superman,
end.
You know basically the beginning, the middle, and
And
the
the
end of that movie already.
Well, what is that other one that's coming out that's not Disney owned and not like superhero, like Revenant, where the guy has that son and he like watches him get killed in front of him, then he like comes back from the dead. He goes and hunts everyone down who killed his son, and then at
It's
the
with
end,
Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I heard that was really good.
Yeah,
You watch the trailer and you see everything that happens in the movie. They cut a 2-hour movie into a 2-minute trailer, and you don't need to go see the movie anymore.
That was Amazing Spider-Man too.
Saves
Like
me
literally,
sense.
I could have saved myself $10.
Age of Ultron too.
Age of Ultron was the same.
I still loved that movie, but they gave basically everything away. There was a few surprises,
There's a couple big ones.
but they gave still way too much of that movie away.
That was the movie that got you to stop watching trailers.
Yeah, that's
Was
when
it?
I finally called it quits. Even though that was hard, that would have been like I already knew basically what they were doing anyway, because
Yeah.
they still follow enough of the comics that I can usually know the overall direction that's being taken, but they still just show anything that would have been a surprise to me was pretty much revealed in one of those first 2 trailers that was just way too long.
Yeah. But going back to The Force Awakens, what were we talking about? Oh, Snoke.
I was
Boba
really
Fett.
happy. No.
No. What about Snoke is
bring Boba Fett back?
I do hope they bring that, yeah, because they're gonna have
There
an
are
anthology
hints.
film for him, right? And they did confirm that he survived.
Yes, they confirmed
So-
that
that is
his canon.
canon? Really?
Surviving the Sarlacc pit is canon. They
So,
came out
okay.
and said that.
There was someone that said, and I know I told you guys this, but for our listeners, when Finn and Poe crash land on Jakku, and Finn runs up to go find Poe, and the TIE fighter just sinks into the sand and just blows up. Huge cloud of dust and whatever. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's obviously a hint that Poe, he survived the Sarlacc or the."
He wasn't even in the
Sinking
ship.
sand.
But it wasn't.
Number 1, he wasn't in there.
It's not a Sarlacc.
And number 2, Sarlaccs don't eat ships.
Yeah.
And number 3, it wasn't a Sarlacc.
Yeah.
Rey mentions it earlier in the movie
Just the
when she
sinking
warns
sands.
BB-8 to stay away from there.
Yeah.
It's like, stay
Well,
away from the north, you'll sink in the sands.
Yeah. But a lot of people were thinking like, oh, same kind of, Boba Fett must have survived because Poe did. But I think it's not a real.
And that's also not Tatooine, but most people walked away from that movie thinking that was Tatooine because they don't know anything. The general public knows nothing about Star Wars.
Even though they mentioned Jakku,
They're still like, oh,
50
it's
times.
Tatooine. No, it's not Tatooine. So there's probably not even Sarlaccs on that planet. We don't even know what life is there.
Sarlaccs all over the place.
Yeah.